Welcome back to another incredible moment where talent breaks boundaries, where dreams take flight, and where voices from around the world remind us why we fall in love with music over and over again. Today, we are stepping into the heart of AGT Manila, a stage that has become a global spotlight for superstars who rise straight from ordinary life into unforgettable history. And in today's story, we witness magic the very second a Filipino singer opens his mouth. Because somehow, impossibly, beautifully, he begins to sound like Elvis Presley himself. Before we get into that moment, let's begin the way we always do. This is the place where we celebrate dreams, celebrate talent, and celebrate those voices that make us stop everything we're doing and just listen. And of course, you know the man whose reactions have become legendary across the world. The one and only Simon Cowell. People usually hear his name and think of him as the toughest judge on earth, the man with the sharpest comments, the most honest feedback, and an ear so trained that he can recognize greatness in just a few seconds. But behind all that, Simon is also someone who deeply cares about people, who believes in lifting up artists when he sees something special, and who appreciates pure heart when it walks on stage. And that is exactly the kind of moment he would have loved in today's story. The lights of AGT Manila brighten as the host introduces a young Filipino performer walking out from backstage. He's dressed in clean, simple clothes, nothing flashy, nothing loud. He looks nervous, but there's something incredibly genuine in his smile. He waves to the crowd, which immediately cheers because Filipinos always support their own. There's a warmth in the room that feels like home. The camera zooms in slowly on his face. He looks down at the microphone in his hand, takes a deep breath, and swallows hard. You can see the pressure in his eyes. You can see the dreams sitting on his shoulders. You can feel the weight of a lifetime of singing in small spaces, karaoke celebrations, festivals, and family gatherings. And now, here he stands on an international stage, ready to show who he truly is. The judges ask him the usual questions. What's your name? Where are you from? What inspired you to sing? And he answers shyly, saying that he grew up listening to music from the old records his grandfather played. Elvis, he says, was the voice he grew up loving, the voice that shaped his entire childhood. It was the voice that made him believe that even someone like him could dream of standing on a stage like this. And today, he says, he hopes to honor the man who inspired him, while giving a performance that represents the Filipino heart he carries. The crowd cheers as the judges nod with curiosity. Because it is never easy to sing Elvis. His voice wasn't just powerful, it was iconic, recognizable from the very first note. Even the bravest singers hesitate before attempting it. But the moment the music begins, something unbelievable happens. He grips the microphone, breathes in, and on the very first line, the audience gasps. There's a ripple of shock across the room, followed by a wave of cheering that immediately rises like a storm. His voice doesn't just resemble Elvis, it mirrors him. The tone, the warmth, the richness, the vibrato, the soul. It sounds impossible. It sounds unreal. It sounds like Elvis Presley has somehow stepped onto the stage through the voice of a Filipino singer. The camera cuts across the audience. Mouths open. Eyes widen. People point in disbelief. Some even laugh in shock because they cannot believe what they are hearing. A few hands shoot upward as people start clapping way before the chorus even begins. On stage, the singer becomes more confident with each line. His shoulders relax. His expression shifts from nervousness to pure joy. You can see him stepping into the song, living inside the music. His voice fills every corner of the room, carrying the very essence of the king of rock and roll, yet still holding the unique warmth of a Filipino artist who sings straight from the heart. Imagine the moment if Simon Cowell were sitting at that judging table. You know exactly how he reacts to a voice that suddenly shocks him. His eyebrows would shoot up, his eyes would lock onto the performer, and he'd lean forward, resting his elbow on the desk, the universal sign that he's impressed, truly impressed. And he would be smiling, that rare but genuine smile reserved only for artists who bring something extraordinary, something unforgettable. The Filipino singer continues with power, each line building into the next. The energy in the room changes. It becomes electrifying. It becomes emotional. Every word he sings feels like a time machine, carrying the audience back to the golden era of Elvis Presley. But then, there's something more, something that makes this performance unique. It's the passion, the sincerity, the emotional honesty that only a Filipino performer can deliver, turning a legendary voice into a heartfelt tribute filled with cultural pride. The audience gets louder and louder as the song reaches its peak. People stand up. Some wave their hands. Others shout encouraging words in Filipino. It's as if the entire nation is rising with him. And on that final note, when he holds the microphone close, closes his eyes, and lets out one last powerful phrase, the crowd explodes. Thunderous applause fills the building. People scream. People stomp their feet. The stage lights flash. The judges rise from their seats. It becomes one of those moments, the moments that videos replay for years, the ones that turn ordinary performers into overnight sensations. The singer stands there, overwhelmed, covering his face with his hands, fighting back tears. Because he knows something extraordinary just happened. Something he may have dreamed of late at night, but never truly believed could become real. Something that his family will talk about for the rest of their lives. Something that will become part of AGT Manila history. And then comes the moment that changes everything. One of the judges reaches forward and slams the golden buzzer. The entire stage erupts into a storm of gold. Thousands of glittering lights rain down like a physical form of dreams coming true. The singer falls to his knees, overcome with emotion. He covers his face, unable to stop crying. His hands tremble. His entire body shakes. The audience screams louder than ever before. Imagine Simon Cowell watching this moment, whether from the studio or from across the world. This is exactly the kind of performance he always talks about. The type that feels real, feels honest, feels like destiny. Simon has always believed that talent can come from anywhere. A small town, a village, a busy city, a quiet home. And when he sees someone take their passion and turn it into something magical, he supports them with everything he has. This would be one of those moments he'd celebrate wholeheartedly. The host rushes on stage, hugging the singer, congratulating him as the golden confetti continues to fall. He is shaking, still stunned, still trying to process how everything he worked for, everything he dreamed of, everything he quietly practiced in his room, suddenly transformed into a moment far bigger than him. The judges share their thoughts, each one trying to find the right words to describe what they just witnessed. They talk about courage, passion, authenticity, and how incredibly rare it is to hear a voice that can bring back a legend while still feeling fresh and new. They talk about pride, about representing his country, about honoring the great artists of the past while building a future of his own. One of them says that if Simon Cowell were here, he would have pressed that golden buzzer himself. Because this wasn't just a performance, it was a moment of pure magic. The singer thanks everyone, wiping his tears, his voice shaking as he says he did this for his family, his grandparents, and for every Filipino who loves music. He says he never expected to make it this far, never imagined that people would believe in him this much. The camera zooms in as he looks out over the cheering crowd, whispering thank you again and again. The stage lights fade slowly, leaving him standing there as the last bits of golden confetti fall around him. The audience takes photos, waves, shouts congratulations. It is a moment frozen in time. And that is why we make these videos. Because stories like this, stories of heart, passion, and unexpected greatness, remind us how powerful talent can be. How one voice can transport us. How one dream can inspire millions. And how someone from anywhere in the world, even from a small corner of Manila, can walk on stage and deliver a performance that shakes the room, shocks the audience, and melts every heart watching. This is the magic of AGT Manila, the magic of music, and the magic of a Filipino singer channeling the spirit of Elvis Presley with a voice that feels heaven-sent. The crowd slowly settles, but the energy in the room still pulses like electricity. People are wiping their eyes, catching their breath, and shaking their heads because what they witnessed didn't feel normal. It felt like witnessing a miracle unfold in real time. And the Filipino singer, still standing on stage surrounded by the golden confetti that glitters on his shoulders, is trying to steady himself. His chest rises and falls with deep breaths, the shock still fresh in his eyes. Backstage, the cameras capture his family awaiting him, all of them emotional, all of them in disbelief. His mother is clutching her hands tightly to her mouth, trying not to cry too loudly. His father holds a handkerchief but refuses to let a tear fall, his proud smile trembling at the edges. His younger siblings are hopping with excitement, not fully understanding the depth of what just happened, but feeling the joy around them like sunlight. On stage, the host invites the singer to gather his thoughts, but all he can manage is another thank you. His voice cracks, his hands shake, and even though he tries to smile, tears stream down his face anyway. He admits softly that growing up, he never felt like the best. He wasn't the loudest. He wasn't the most confident. But he always had passion. And passion kept him singing even on days when life felt too heavy, too uncertain, too difficult. He says there were nights when he doubted himself, nights when he wondered if dreaming was just a waste of time. Nights when he stayed awake playing Elvis songs softly on his old speaker, imagining a world where his voice mattered. He says he never thought he would stand on a stage this big, let alone hear an entire arena cheering for him. And that is when the judges begin speaking again, their voices kind and heartfelt. They tell him that success doesn't come from being perfect, it comes from being real. From loving what you do. From singing with soul instead of ego. They tell him that the world doesn't need another Elvis Presley, because Elvis already existed. But the world does need people like him, people who carry the spirit of music inside their hearts and bring it to life with their own story. Imagine Simon Cowell hearing these words. He has judged thousands of performers over the years, each one unique, each one hoping for their shot. And one thing Simon has always valued above everything else is authenticity. When someone is real, truly real, he supports them fiercely. This Filipino singer is exactly that kind of artist. Someone whose voice is powerful not just because it resembles Elvis, but because it comes from a place of love, dedication, and truth. Simon would have been proud to witness this moment. Backstage, the camera follows the singer as he walks through the golden curtain, still overwhelmed by what just happened. The second he steps into the backstage hallway, his family rushes toward him, wrapping him in a tight embrace. His mother begins to cry openly now, her voice trembling as she says she always knew he had something special. His father pats his back repeatedly, unable to find the words to express his pride. His siblings squeeze his arms, shouting congratulations, their voices high with joy. He holds them all close, closing his eyes, letting the moment sink in. For the first time, he feels it, he truly feels it. The validation, the recognition, the understanding that his voice is more than just a hobby. It is a gift, a calling, a part of him that deserves to be heard. The camera captures the emotion on his face as he whispers that he wishes his grandfather were alive to see this moment. He explains that his grandfather was the one who first showed him an Elvis tape, who first encouraged him to sing, who told him that music is one of the most powerful things a person can share with the world. His grandfather used to say that when someone sings from their heart, the world listens. And those words echo now, louder than ever. The production team approaches him, congratulating him and helping him steady his breathing. They hand him water, pat his back, and smile at him warmly. Moments like these aren't just emotional for the performers, they touch the hearts of everyone in the building. Even the backstage crew feels it. They know they've just witnessed a star being born in front of their eyes. As the singer moves toward the interview area, he is still shaking, still wiping tears. The host begins asking him how he feels, how he managed to sing so flawlessly despite being nervous, and whether he ever imagined something like this happening. He laughs through the tears and says no. Not even in his wildest dreams. He shares that growing up Filipino means music is everywhere. At birthdays, reunions, community events, karaoke nights, and gatherings where everyone has a song to share. He says that music in the Philippines isn't just entertainment, it's culture, it's connection, it's love. And that's why his voice carries so much passion. Because every note he sings carries a story, a memory, a piece of home. The camera follows him out into the large backstage waiting room where other contestants sit watching the auditions on a screen. When he walks in, the room bursts into applause. The other performers rush to him, congratulating him, shaking his hand, hugging him. They tell him he deserves every bit of recognition he just received. They tell him his performance gave them chills. They tell him he made the entire Filipino community proud. One of the contestants even laughs and says she thought Elvis himself came back for a moment, and the singer blushes, covering his face. But the truth is, he recreated something legendary. And everyone in the building knows it. Meanwhile, the audience inside the main arena is still buzzing. Even though the next performer is being prepared to take the stage, people continue whispering about the Filipino singer. How did he sing like that? How did he carry that much soul? How did one voice shake the entire room like that? They don't know his full story yet, but they will soon. Because moments like these spread fast. Across social media, across the internet, across countries. Soon, the world will be talking about him too. The story shifts to later in the evening. The stage crew finishes packing up equipment, the judges have left their seats, and the massive hall begins clearing. But the singer stays for a while, sitting quietly at a corner table backstage, still processing everything. The golden confetti is stuck in his hair and on his clothes, and every time he picks up a piece of it, he smiles softly, as if holding proof that this isn't a dream. Someone from the production team brings him a tablet showing the early reactions on social media. Clips of his performance are already trending. Thousands of comments flood in, messages from Filipinos around the world, from Elvis fans, from music lovers, from people shocked by how powerful his voice is. You can see tears forming in his eyes again as he scrolls. Because for the first time, people from across the world are hearing his voice, and loving it. They're cheering for him. They're supporting him. They're calling him the Filipino Elvis. But more importantly, they're calling him an artist with his own shine, his own identity, his own magic. Imagine Simon Cowell seeing those viral clips. You can almost picture his reaction. The nod of respect, the slight smirk that means he's impressed, the comment he would make about how talent doesn't care about borders or distance. He has always believed that great voices exist everywhere, and this Filipino singer is living proof of that. The singer finally walks outside into the quiet Manila night. The streets glow with neon colors, the air warm, the sound of distant traffic humming softly. He looks up at the sky, still smiling, whispering a small thank you to the universe. Because this is the beginning. Not the end. This is the moment everything changes.